family farm slowly disappearing. Many are bought and removed to make way for strip malls, restaurants, and gas stations. But we visited a place up near Pinnacle, North Carolina, that hopes to preserve the history and tradition of the family farm.
Doing is restoring the Hauser Farm to its 1900 to 1910 appearance. And as part of that process, we're not only restoring the buildings which are on site, but we're also raising the same breeds of livestock and the same varieties of fruits and vegetables. So the purpose is to use the Hauser Farm as a representative site to show what a typical family farm was like in 1900. Back in the 60s, there were a lot of people in the northwest Piedmont area who were very concerned that farming as a way of life was dying out. And so they decided that the state needed an agricultural museum in the northwest Piedmont region. The first thing I would say about the farmhouse is that it was built between 1875 and 1880. And it's actually a log house underneath. And as soon as the Hauser family got their log portion of the house built, they covered it with clapboard. And it was built in a couple of stages. The original house is now composed of the kitchen and the dining area, which we'll see shortly. And then the family added on to the house as the family grew. The Hausers had 12 children, 11 boys and 1 daughter, so it's a big family. This room is the parlor of the farmhouse, and for the most part, this room was kept locked most of the time unless the Hauser family had visitors, maybe the preacher on Sunday or some other special company. But the children weren't allowed in this room for the most part. There's obvious reasons for that. Mrs. Hauser had a very nice carpet on the floor, and she didn't want the children running from the outside with red mud all over their feet and getting that on the expensive carpet. This photograph is of Thomas and Charlotte Hauser, who actually built the farmhouse. This particular photograph shows the whole Hauser family out in front of the farmhouse, and we think that it was taken around 1905. This is the kitchen of the house, and this is the room when people come in today visiting the farm that they typically like the best. And I think it's because it's so much different from a modern kitchen today. And when people walk in here, it brings back a lot of memories for them. You'll hear a lot of people saying that it reminds them of visiting their great-grandmother's house or their grandmother's, and they tend to fixate on the stove here. Charlotte would have been cooking a lot of meals on the stove. It's a wood stove. You can also use coal. Everyone could not eat all at one time here in the dining room. And so they took shifts. The men ate first, and the older boys, and then the women and children last. It wasn't uncommon for her to cook as many as 20 to 25 pies to see them through the weekend. The 2 rooms upstairs are bedrooms, and they were used by the boys of the family. There were actually 11 boys in the Hauser family, and I think sometimes when we tell people that, they think that all 11 were sleeping up here at one time, but that wasn't the case. The children were born over a 25-year time period, so a lot of them had moved away by the time some of the younger ones were born. The feed barn here at Horne Creek was built in 1846, and it's a very common style. It's a double crib barn. It's a style that you would typically see up in Pennsylvania, and as settlers moved down to the North Carolina, Virginia region, you would see this type of barn. In 1997, Horne Creek started a new project, which was the Southern Heritage Apple Orchard. And to our knowledge, right now is the only publicly operated orchard in the United States that is devoted exclusively to the preservation of southern apples, which were near extinction. We have approximately 800 apple trees in the orchard, and we have 400 different varieties of apples from all over the South, which were rapidly disappearing. And so for each variety of apple that we actually have two trees. One tree is a main tree, which will become about 12 to 16 feet tall. And then we have a backup tree. The obvious reason for that is if the main tree died, your variety would disappear. So we have a backup system to help preserve these trees.